Reaction following guilty verdicts for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. More details on the charges filed against the former Quapaw chairman. And Joplin marijuana patients and newly opened dispensaries celebrate 420.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Calendar might say spring, but the winter weather isn't quite over. This is KOAM News at 10. Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at the weather. It's going to get cold tonight, Doug.
It is, and it's been cold all day. Of course, we had the snow earlier today, and we were sitting into the 30s. After the snow, we finally made it up to 41, but we should be topping out at 72, so over 30 degrees below where we should be. Freeze warnings in effect for us tonight. We should set record lows around 30. And we're going to go down below that, 26, 27 degrees by morning. So definitely could cause some issues to the plants and the trees that have been budding out there. But at least we got rid of all the snow, all the rain. Clouds are breaking up, pretty much clear skies across the region. A few more clouds just to our north and to our west, but in general, it looks okay, at least from the sky perspective. But temperatures at the surface are dropping at freezing in Nevada. Everybody else sitting kind of mid-30s will continue to drop off as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. We're going to slide back into the 20s. Thankfully, we'll start to warm things back up just a little bit as we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. So Dow, we got to get through tonight and then maybe some frost tomorrow night as well. But we're going to look down the road and look at severe weather here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Doug. The verdict is in, and a Minneapolis jury has found former police officer Derek Chauvin guilty in the death of George Floyd. The jury convicted Chauvin on all three counts: second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Many people had a strong reaction to the video of George Floyd in police custody. Tonight, we're seeing a much different response to Derek Chauvin in handcuffs. Daniel Bacchus reports.
Across the country, many expressed relief upon hearing a Minneapolis jury found Derek Chauvin guilty.
I've been beaten for George Floyd. We've gone to jail for George Floyd. But today I can rejoice. I can smile and know that this can be a government that is for and by the people.
Some said they hope the former police officer's conviction will lead to broader changes in law enforcement.
It's just a sad day all the way around. But, you know, there are those of us that see it as a positive day. And hopefully now when we talk about defunding the police, people will take these conversations a lot more seriously. Elected
officials, both past and present, weighed in. Former President Barack Obama released a statement calling the Chauvin verdict a necessary step on the road to progress. In Washington, members of the Congressional Black Caucus gathered to watch the verdict together.
So now we have to focus on transforming policing in the United States. Since George Floyd's murder of a year ago, over 100 people have died at the hands of police.
The CBC said it's imperative that the Senate approve the Police Reform Act passed by the House in March. The bill is named in honor of George Floyd. Danya Bacchus, CBS News.
Among other things, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act would ban police use of chokeholds as well as racial and religious profiling. President Biden addressed the nation after the verdict. The president expressed publicly some of the thoughts he had shared in a phone call with Floyd's family.
The guilty verdict does not bring back George. But through the family's pain, they're finding purpose. So George's legacy will not be just about his death, but about what we must do in his memory.
That brings us to today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. The question is, do you believe justice was served in the Chauvin trial? You can give your opinion at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. We'll check in on them in a bit. Now, some of you left additional comments on our Facebook page. Andrew does not believe justice was served. He writes, no, political pressure and media pressure decided the verdict. Kathy writes, I believe George Floyd and his family can finally breathe. And Lauren says, it's not justice just because Chauvin is convicted. That's a murderer facing just consequences. The real justice is addressing the system that allowed this to happen at all, and we're not anywhere close to that. Thanks for writing in, everyone. We're going to check in on those final results of our Instapoll at the end of this newscast. We have more details on the charges filed by the Quapaw Nation against former Chairman John Berry and former Secretary Treasurer Tamara Smiley Reeves. KOAM's Chris Warner has been following this story and has more.
On Monday, we brought you the list of charges and allegations made by the Quapaw Nation against former Chairman John Berry and former Secretary Treasurer Tamara Smiley Reeves. Now, we're taking a closer look at the charges against Mr. Berry and the others alleged to be involved. One of the charges is embezzlement. It alleges Berry took $1.5 million broken up into a series of monthly installments from the Saracen Casino Resort and Q Store and claimed they were success fees as bonus payments. Another of the notable charges is conspiracy. Now, there are 2 counts of conspiracy in the court documents, Count 2 and Count 5. Count 2 alleges that Berry conspired with Merlin Jones, then the CFO of Downstream and Saracen Casinos, and a consultant, Alan Mock, to embezzle funds from the casinos totaling just over $1.3 million. Those funds were issued as checks to John Berry, Jack Brill, Tamara Smiley Reeves, Merlin Jones, and Janet Cummings. The Quapaw Nation alleges that Berry then directed Mock to deposit 3 checks totaling more than $500,000 into a personal bank account owned by Berry. The other conspiracy charge, Count 5, alleges that Berry worked with Merlin Jones, Jack Brill, and Tamara Smiley Reeves to embezzle more than $4 million from Downstream and Saracen Casinos as success fees or bonus payments. Those payments were allegedly made to John Berry, Jack Brill, Tamara Smiley Reeves, Merlin Jones, and Janet Cummings. There's also a civil case filed by the Quapaw Nation against Berry, Smiley Reeves, and 7 others. They include Jack Brill, Janet Cummings, George McWaters, Marilyn Rogers, Sherry Smiley, Tina Smith, and the heirs of Merlin Jones Jr. Jones passed away earlier this month. Those charges include fraud, constructive fraud, conversion, and unjust enrichment. We reached out for an interview with John Berry, and while our request was declined, John Berry's spokesperson told us that Berry and the others named in the indictments have filed a defamation suit against Michael Crump with Innovative Gaming Solutions, which conducted the audit that ultimately led to the charges, as well as current Secretary-Treasurer Guy Barker and current Chairman Joseph Byrd. That suit was filed in February in Cleveland County, Oklahoma District Court. A motion to dismiss filed by the defendants has been scheduled to be heard on April 26th. I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
You can find all the court documents and information on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Police cracked down on drug-impaired driving on this 420. 420 is the unofficial national holiday for the consumption and celebration of cannabis. It's become more popular in Missouri as medical marijuana dispensaries open in the state. The Missouri Highway Patrol is increasing enforcement, and the Joplin Police Department is keeping a close eye out for people who may be driving high.
Our number of DUI arrests in the last several years have increased, and so we're seeing that uptick. But so we're just asking the public to just make smart decisions and be safe.
According to the Missouri Coalition for Highway Safety, 94 people were killed and 181 people seriously injured in 2020 in crashes involving drug use. We're going to look at some of the bigger items on the Joplin School Board's agenda for this evening in a bit, and why opponents say a proposed transgender sports ban in Oklahoma could lead to sporting events abandoning the Sooner State.
Today.
Joplin Board of Education met tonight to take care of some new business. The agenda included introducing capital outlay projects for the board for approval. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on what projects could soon be implemented in Joplin schools.
These capital outlay projects and their budget were approved back in February, but due to their cost, needed to be formally approved at this meeting. Once approved, the district can hit the ground running.
And this will give the board a chance to ask any questions or look at the bids and look at how things were prepared.
Most of these projects are related to infrastructure, and with the board's approval, can begin immediately, in the hopes money can be in place by the time school starts next fall.
You have about 19 buildings across the district, and you have roofs that reach their duration of time or air conditioning and heating units and lighting. We've been doing a lot of different things with lighting across the district.
He says the last few years, the school district has been trying to replace all of their lighting with LED lights to save money.
It also helps with some of our students with special needs. We've noticed a great increase in terms of their experience at school because of the LED fixtures and for some particular students that have challenging needs.
It's not just lighting in buildings. At Jung Field, they're also looking at the Friday night lights.
The lighting we have there is old, so we felt like it was time to go ahead and take care of that need as well.
There are also projects relating to improving the safety of Jung Field's bleachers, adding handrails and other seat modifications. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Now, in tonight's vote, the Joplin School Board decided to approve the capital outlay projects, meaning they can now begin working on them. Missouri's health director has resigned. Governor Mike Parson today announced the Department of Health and Senior Services Director Dr. Randall Williams stepping down. Williams was appointed to the job in 2017 by Parson's predecessor, former Governor Eric Greitens. Williams helped lead the state's response to the coronavirus pandemic and is leaving amid the vaccine rollout. Parson says he's naming his deputy chief of staff, Robert Nodell, to be the state's acting health director. The Republican-led Oklahoma House has passed a bill to ban transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. The vote sends the bill to the GOP-controlled Senate, which failed to consider a similar bill earlier this session. Opponents raised concerns the bill could lead to the NCAA pulling some championship games from Oklahoma. The Women's College Softball World Series is held in Oklahoma City, generating more than $20 million annually. A Lamar, Missouri high school student is set to participate in a national competition. Jolie Rector placed second at the district level of the Skills USA competition and won state. Jolie participated in the graphic design competition.
Basically, they give you a company name and what's it all about, and you have to create an ad from that makes people want to buy it or makes people want to use that company.
The competitions have been held virtually using 2 cameras that will continue for nationals. Later in sports, the Missouri State Bears haven't been to the football playoffs in 3 decades. They're breaking that streak this season and bringing a former Webb City Cardinal along for the ride.
Record lows for us tonight. When are we going to start to warm up? We're going to look at that coming up next.
In Joplin.
Well, we had the snow for us today, actually moderate to heavy snow at times. Most of the snow, it was just melting on impact, and then when we would get the moderate to heavy bands, it would quickly accumulate. We got about 3/4 of an inch or so. You can actually see the snow on our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Tower cam time-lapsing throughout the daytime hours for us today. So that 3/4 of an inch of snow puts us over 19 for the season. We also had 3/4 of an inch of ice. This should be it with winter weather. Last year we only had 9.5 inches. Average is about 12. It used to be about 16 or 17, but over the past 20 or 30 years, that average has dropped just due to the climate warming up just a bit. Temperatures for us today, after we got rid of the rain and the snow, we did go into lower 40s, which is cold, and now we're dropping back. Most of us near freezing, 32 in Nevada, 33 Oswego, we have 33 in Chanute, 34 in Miami, Anderson at 36, 34 in Monette, and everybody's going to continue to drop over the next several hours. We aren't alone. The entire Central Plains on the cold side. At least this colder air will start to retreat a bit as we head into the next few days. Just not tonight. Freeze warnings, the entire viewing area as we drop into the mid to upper 20s for lows. Look at the bands of snow earlier today, and then we had a little pocket or 2 of sleet behind it. All this is out of here, so we're going to start to at least clear out or continue to clear out as we go through the rest of the overnight hours. This whole storm system wrapping up, heading away from us, but our next system already building out across the northern parts of California. That will start to affect us by the second half of the day on Thursday. Until then, we should stay dry. Cold tonight, 20s. 4 overnight lows, partly cloudy skies for us tomorrow. At least a little bit warmer. We'll start at 27, 50 by noon, high temp of 55. Northwesterly winds at about 5 to 15. Tomorrow night, still partly cloudy skies, mid-30s. Not as cold, but some of the low-lying areas could still have some patchy frost. Then as we go into Thursday, a lot of clouds, rain. Rain's going to start to sneak in, especially Thursday afternoon. This is that next storm system. Rain again on Friday. Good news here is nothing strong, nothing severe. It's just good old rain with this next system. I think it will last into Saturday morning, and then by Saturday afternoon, we should be pretty good. Sunday looks great. Partly sunny skies, mid-70s for highs. We should warm up even a little bit more. By Monday, still the south winds probably pushing 80 for a high on Monday. On Tuesday, here comes our next system. This is going to give us showers and thunderstorms, and then the pattern. Last time it came through, it gave us severe weather, so I assume it will do the same. So this is our next shot to get severe weather. This is going to be next Tuesday. Then we have another shot next Friday. So we have 2 chances for severe weather next week. So it starts to pick up just a bit. Actually, almost 3, because next weekend, especially on Sunday, May 2nd, another good shot for severe weather. Cold tonight, 55 tomorrow, 57 on Thursday, 62, and rain on Friday. Sunday looks great, Monday looks great, and then thunderstorms on Tuesday.
That forecast, you have sub-freezing temperatures, you have 80 degrees, you have rain, you have sun, you have the possibility of severe weather.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
In a week.
That's our spring around here.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he's ahead of schedule in his return from a toe injury, and a former local high school standout helps Missouri State football snap a 31-year playoff drought. Jacob Leonard has details next.
The Missouri State football team is in the playoffs for the first time since 1990. There are a few local guys on the roster who have helped the Bears snap that playoff drought, including offensive lineman Landon Beebe. Now, Beebe is a former Webb City Cardinal. He's now a redshirt sophomore at Missouri State. Now, his first couple years there, the team won 5 games combined. This spring, though, they were 5-1 and won a conference title in their first season under head coach Bobby Petrino.
The first thing he said was, "We're going to take the rear view mirror, and we're just going to tear it off. We're not going to look behind us anymore. We're just going to focus on what's ahead of us from now on." We needed that because we were kind of in the mindset of losing. And ever since he came, he just changed the culture, like I said, into a winning culture.
This week is the first week of off-season workouts for the Kansas City Chiefs. The quarterback Patrick Mahomes is, of course, on the mend from toe surgery, which he got on February 10th. Now, the good news is he's out of his walking boot, and he says right now the recovery is pretty speedy.
I think I'm ahead of schedule myself. I mean, obviously we're trying to be cautious and not push me out there too soon. But I'm doing what I can. I've gotten out of the boot finally. It took forever. And now I'm trying to get back on the field and get that stuff working. And so I'm sure they'll keep me along that same pathway to I can be able to hopefully do some stuff by the end of the offseason.
We got a couple COC soccer matches tonight in Carl Junction. The Bulldogs get a 2-0 shutout win over Neosho. Now this one here, also a good one. Carthage gets a close win at home, 2-1 over Joplin. The St. Louis Cardinals are an even 8-8 through their first 16 games of the year. And last night they opened up their series against the Nationals with a 12-5 win. Now tonight is game 2. Cards aim to clinch the series. Josh Bell in the 6th, going deep off Adam Wainwright. Nationals get the first run of the night. Next inning, Dylan Carlson got the answer for St. Louis. Drives it off the wall. Yadier Molina scores. Carlson all the way around into third for the triple. We're all tied up. Now after that, Adam Wainwright settled down. He goes 7 scoreless with 10 strikeouts. But after he leaves tonight, Nationals would get a pair of runs in the 8th. Washington gets by St. Louis tonight 3-2. In the American League, Kansas City hosting Game 2 of their series against Tampa Bay. The Royals dropped Game 1 last night. Tonight, Kansas City down right now 11-7 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Carlos Santana has a double, a home run, and 3 RBIs. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Sergeant First Class Michael Bush served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam and Korean Wars. His hometown, Fredonia, Kansas, and we are proud to salute Sergeant First Class Michael Bush. He's tonight's four-state hero. Let's get a final look at tonight's KOIM News Now Insta poll. The question is, do you believe justice was served in the Chauvin trial? 64% of respondents say yes, 36% say no. This poll is now closed. Thank you for participating. The site where Harriet Tubman and her family lived has been discovered. Apparently, state and federal officials in Maryland made the announcement today at the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Visitor Center in Church Creek. This comes after an archaeologist found a coin from 1808 along Maryland's eastern shore. Experts say that location is where Tubman, her parents, and siblings lived before she escaped slavery. Pieces of pottery, a button, and other artifacts were found in the area where Tubman's home likely stood. Between 1850 and 1860, Tubman used the Underground Railroad to rescue enslaved people from the South prior to the Civil War. Hers was a remarkable story and certainly worth preserving and remembering.
Absolutely.
It's going to be very cold tonight.
It is. We're going to drop back to about 26 or 27 degrees. Should set a new record low. 55 tomorrow, partly sunny. Rain rolls right back in late Thursday, Friday into Saturday, and then thunderstorms next Tuesday.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.